Hi guys, Super Secret Tech here, and I wanted to do a very quick how to use POB and do a kind of like a quick frequently asked questions about the Bladefall Blade Blast build. Before I get started, if you do enjoy the content, I would really appreciate it if you would consider liking and subscribing. It really does help the channel grow. Also, I'm trying to figure out exactly where you guys are as an audience as far as experience. So if you are a beginner or intermediate or more advanced, feel free to comment down below and kind of let me know where you're at. That way I can help tailor make more content that will serve the best purpose possible. Another thing I wanted to cover is I am open to doing like just a complete Twitch Q&A for one of my sessions, either Saturday or Sunday. If that's something you would be interested in, go ahead and put that in the comments as well. That way I know kind of what kind of content y'all would like to see over there. If you'd rather see me just playing the build, or if you'd rather see me do like a question answer where I just sit down and go in depth over a million different things about it, because we can absolutely do either of those. I'm perfectly happy doing it. So to kind of get into the path of building part, there is a couple of things to be aware of. So down here, there is the act leveling, the in-game tree, as well as the current tree where I'm at the time of recording this video. Under skills, it's the same thing. We have in-game, leveling, and then we got current. So you can keep track exactly where I'm at versus exactly where you're at and see basically where the differentiation is, maybe in gear, or why I may be experiencing something slightly different than you are. Another thing is it's the same thing in here. So I have current, low investment, medium investment, and high investment. If you are in the current tab, you'll see exactly the gear that I'm wearing item by item, which is super helpful because that way you can kind of see, okay, what's important from this piece of gear, especially with so many variables on gear. And some of this you're going to look at, like this ring looks like a bad ring, but it's not, because it fulfills a purpose, and the purpose is the +3 mana gained for each enemy hit by your spells. That's why I don't have a mana flask and I can reserve all 3 auras, is specifically because I have that one mod on this ring. And even though the rest of the ring isn't that great, that one mod makes it where this ring is worth running at this present time. Now, eventually I want to get a ring that has this mod on it and is way better rolled, but it works for now. And that's something also to keep in context. The high investment stuff is going to take some time to get to. Like, some of that is crazy amount of time to get the pieces exactly the way they are, or at least get the type of rolls that you're looking for. Also, no, not every stat is super important on every piece of gear. There are a couple of things that you want to kind of keep an eye out for, which is there dex on it? Is there int on it? Because those things make it where you can save nodes on the skill tree. The other thing is, while you're leveling, if you don't have a piece of gear that has enough dex or has enough int, get you a 30 node. If you notice that, hey, I'm running really short on int, skip some of this stuff and just kind of beeline it up here to where all the int is. There's also another dex node here. There's another dex node right here. And there's another dex node right here. Feel free to pick up any of those while leveling. It's perfectly fine. Then, once you have enough gear where you can get out of them, get out of them. It's perfectly fine. You will drop regrets, I promise. And if you do all the quests and the acts, you get like 20 refund points just from doing that. So it really goes a very long way towards the progression. The other thing you'll notice on the current tree is I have a Necanoid that gets Disciple of the Forbidden. I do that so I don't have to run Power Charge on critical on Bladefall. If you don't mind that gem basically being locked into Bladefall, The other one you can neck anoint if you don't want to mess with Enduring Cry is Disciple of the Unyielding. Or the other thing you can do now is a Scourge modifier that exists is chance to gain an energy charge on kill. There's also a Scourge mod ring that has a chance to gain a power charge on kill. Whatever one of those you get on a ring, you can change your neck anoint to the opposite, and then that way you have everything generating automatically. Frenzy you're going to get just from Blood Rage. Once you get to the point where you're comfortable with your regen and your physical mitigation, go ahead and throw Blood Rage in there. If it starts ticking down immediately, take it out, wait a few levels, and then revisit it later. If it's not ticking down immediately, you're on the right path. Then the next part I really want to cover is, so you'll notice some of my gear is not great on the current setup, but it has the important crucial modifiers. So like on this Opal Scepter, I bought a scepter that had +1 physical and spell critical strike chance. And then I crafted global crit strike multiplier onto it. Now to be able to do that, I had to regal it. I regaled it and got 7% of fire res, which does absolutely nothing. But it doesn't matter because the other 3 mods are what's really important on that piece of gear. Spell damage is also big. Cast speed is also big. Arcane Surge is also big. Another thing you may notice is I have new gloves that have faster casting on them. Having these gloves allows me to run Inspiration on Bladefall, which gives me more global damage, which is wonderful. And they also happen to have some dex on it. Now these gloves, kind of like the ring, aren't the greatest, but they work for the time being until I can get something better. The other thing you'll notice is that I have an I-86 Hunter belt. It's not where I want it, but the base is what's important, because now I can keep crafting on this until I get exactly what I'm looking for. And especially with having harvest nodes in Haywork, Hamlet, it makes it for very easy crafting of Hunter mods. If you are not familiar with that whatsoever, I do have a tutorial video of Craft of Exile that really goes in depth towards how to craft for specific modifiers. The important modifier on Hunter items is the percent max life on everything but the chest, because percent max life plus flat life is really high scaling, and it will make you go from 4,000 hit points to 6,000 hit points very, very quickly. They're very significant upgrades, and so don't overlook how powerful things like that are. The other thing you'll notice is right now my chaos resistance is negative. I don't like being there, and once I start playing today, one of my first goals is going to be to try to fix that, because I really want to get my chaos resistance positive, and I'd really like it to be capped. But it's sometimes you have to take little stepping stones towards your goals. And what I'm really going to try to focus on today is getting I-86 bases for the remaining gear that I have that I need to get upgraded. And then I want to start working on trying to look at possibly, like, this is also a I-86 shaper item. That way I can keep crafting on it. The rings are not, the necklace is not, the boots are not. And I may go two-tone instead of like a Volgreave or a Titan Greave. We'll just kind of see what's available and what the cost difference is. If the cost difference isn't high, two-tone are very, very good. If the cost difference is extreme, you may be better off going Titan or going a hybrid like Legion or Crusader. You just kind of had to gauge that based on the market. So I hope this helps with the POB stuff. in the skills. The other thing I want to cover is mana concerns. There is 2 ways to really fix mana concerns. So one is getting this modifier on a mana flask. What the effect is not removed when unrazor mana is filled and flask does not queue does for you is it keeps it ticking for the entire duration of the flask. So in this case, if it's an enduring eternal mana flask, it's going to go for 7 seconds. That 7 seconds is how long you have mana regen for. Another thing to keep in mind about mana is you can always reserve less auras and it makes your mana sustain better. And you can always run something like a clarity instead of, for instance, skitterbots. And skitterbots isn't a huge DPS increase for clearing. It is a pretty significant one for bossing. But Herald of Ash isn't. So you can always turn off skitterbots, clear with Herald of Ash. When you get to the boss room, turn off Herald of Ash, turn on skitterbots, and keep a level 20 clarity or even a Vault clarity running. And then you have that free window during Vault clarity. Now, if you are going to go that route, I would probably recommend taking out Vault Haste because you don't want too many Vault skills competing to fill up, because it just makes it where you don't have Vault Haste or Vault Righteous Fire for the instances when it's really, really good and it's really, really beneficial for you. The other thing I wanted to kind of cover is let me know what y'all would like to see, or if I'm doing something that you would like me to do a little bit differently. I'm 100% open to feedback. So please let me know what I can improve on, because I want to be the absolute best content creator I can be for you guys. But anyway, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope you're enjoying Scourge. Have a good one.